Mode. Go go live. Live started. You're live.
All right. Oh my gosh. Welcome on Facebook in Pivot Shift Ahead. We're letting people in the Zoom room too, which is just so very exciting. Thank you so much for joining us. Sarah, how are you? Sarah, you doing well?
I am great. It is so much
Oh,
fun seeing all these faces pop up here on the Zoom. That's
it's
awesome.
really cool. And I'm thankful that you're going to teach this class. By the way, my name's James, and I'm so glad you're here inside our Pivot Shift Ahead community on this. And I reached out, and Sarah and I chatted about doing something for YouTube because she's nailing it. And what I thought is I wanted help too, because I was thinking, is this too close for the camera,
Yes.
Sarah?
Might be a little bit too close.
Okay, well then I need to take your class because put it in the chat. Is this too close? Oh, it is. Amiko says it's too close. Well, then good thing that you're doing this. I think that's awesome. I'm really glad that you're here, Sarah. You are knocking that out of the park on the YouTube. But I'm curious about what people hope to get out of the course before Sarah starts it off. So put in the chat, why did you sign up for her free course? You can see my blind spot. Did you see this? Amy Anderson said she could see my bald spot when I was that
Ah,
close. Put in the chat what you hope to get out of being in this course with Sarah. Some strategy. You have some of that, Sarah, because you built this whole thing based on the fact that your strategy sucked when you started.
yes, I am going to share with y'all exactly what I did in the beginning and why it did not work, and then what I learned and what's working now.
They said, get over how you look and sound. That's a different class. All
But
right.
we will talk about it today.
Oh, good. I love that. I love it. Sarah, thank you so much. Again, everybody joining. My name is James Shaw, the creator of Pivot Shift Ahead, and we love to do this from time to time where we find agents who are operating something at an elite level, but they're also relatable to you. Sarah, it's just you and an admin or something, right? I mean, that's how your business is now.
Yes, very small team. It's myself, a showing agent, and two admins on the back end, helping out. And I've been able to build a really big business and keeping it small. And so this is a really great opportunity. You can either keep it small or you can grow it and scale it a little bit larger as others have done. But the great thing is that this is a flexible strategy that works no matter what direction you want to go. So if you're a solo agent or if you're watching this and you have a team, it works for teams as well.
It's great. And that's why I wanted you to do it, because you're not a team of 73 people who's got a videographer following you around all the time. Like, you're going on listing appointments, you're working with sellers, you're writing contracts, and you're creating this content, which is what everyone else can do on here. So Sarah, enough of me. I have learned that this is too close, so I'm going to back up and turn it over to you. Sarah Maslowski, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Well, I so appreciate you being here today and sharing your time. I'm happy to dive into and share exactly what's worked for me and my business, and kind of take you along the journey of how I got started in YouTube and how I started trying to figure out this thing called video and sharing some of the frustrations that I had and showing you what my business looks like today. So I am going to share my screen here and let me know if y'all can't see that. I am located in the North Metro Atlanta area. I've been a licensed real estate agent for 6 years. Prior to getting into real estate, I was a teacher. And over the past 4 years, since focusing directly on YouTube, I have been able to generate over $100 million in volume directly from YouTube. So that's not including Sphere or referral business. That is just solely people that have watched the videos and have reached out and said, "Hey, found you, and we're moving to the area, and we would love to have you help." So I'm going to share with you exactly how I did that and how you can too. Um, so I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but as a new agent, switching careers from my teaching career into real estate, I thought real estate was just going to be fun, easy, showing houses. People were just going to come to me through open houses and say, "Yes, we want you as our real estate agent." And it wasn't until I was in Ignite at Night class when it was on lead generation when I realized, like, oh, that's not exactly how real estate works. It's all about conversations and people that you could meet. So this was my first 2 years in business. And let me know if any of you can relate to this, but I was a little bit of a hot mess. I was trying anything and everything that I could to get business. And the good and bad part about this is that it worked. I was getting little bits and pieces of business from everywhere. A few from open houses, a few from for sale by owners, cold calling, you name it. If I went to a class and heard about a great strategy, like I was going to try it. And what I've realized in hindsight is that the reason that any one of those strategies did not really take off for me is that I had kind of like that shiny object syndrome. I was chasing every good idea that came my way. And, I would try something new whenever I heard someone else share that. So another shiny object, back in 2020, I started hearing a lot about how you need to incorporate video into your real estate business in order to have success. And for me, I didn't quite understand exactly what that meant. And I'm going to show you some of the things that I tried to do back then. And I was just getting really frustrated. And maybe some of you feel the same way. Maybe you're trying video and you're putting things out there on Instagram or Facebook, or maybe you already have a YouTube channel and you're putting videos out there, but you're not getting the actual business from it. That was me 4 years ago. And I just thought that either other people had a magic secret that I didn't have, or they were just much better at this. So we're going to get into that and share exactly what you should be doing. So, okay, so let's talk about why specifically YouTube works. YouTube is a fantastic strategy because, and this is unlike anything that you're going to see on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, is that you are creating evergreen content that works while you sleep. So YouTube is a search engine, and it's owned by Google. So anytime someone is searching for information on your area or moving to your area on Google, your videos or relevant videos that pertain to what that person is searching for is popping up on Google. And not only do people use Google exactly as a search engine as it is, but people also use YouTube for that exact same thing. So people that are moving to an area are going to be searching information on their different options, different neighborhoods, what it looks like. Think about if you came home and your partner or your spouse told you, "Hey, I just got this amazing job offer and it's 600 miles away. What do you think about moving to Atlanta, Georgia?" And you're probably going to be like, "Oh, that sounds cool, but I have no idea what it's like to be there. I've never been there." And so that's the type of consumer that's going online and searching and seeking out this type of information. The great thing about YouTube videos is that it is, for the most part, evergreen content. And what I mean by that is that the information that you're giving them is relevant whether they watch it when you first put out that video or if they don't watch this video for a whole nother year. What it's like living in your town outside of maybe, some new park that's opened up or some new developments that have happened in your area, the information is still very relevant year after year after year. And so the cool thing about YouTube and this specific type of content, the reason that it works so well is that over time, you're building a bingeable library that people that are moving to your area can watch not just one video, but they can eventually watch 10 videos that you've made on your town that's going to give them a very, detailed overview of what it's like living in your area. Now, I'm sure, like many of you, like me, I'm on Instagram and TikTok scrolling information all the time, right? And so we're scrolling that feed or that For You page. The videos that they're showing you, for the most part, are videos that are made within the past, I would say, like week to 3 months, wouldn't you say? And so usually that algorithm is feeding you very timely information. Very rarely are you getting served up content that someone made 6 months or a year ago. Would y'all agree? Yes. So YouTube's a little bit different in that YouTube is going to suggest and serve up the best videos for the actual viewer based on either what they're searching or based on videos that they've already watched. So kind of similar to that For You page on TikTok. I don't know if you watch one cleaning video and then all of a sudden you get like 20 more, right? And so YouTube's kind of doing the same thing. They are figuring out what this person watches, and then they're serving up on their home screen on YouTube saying, hey, let's throw this out there and let me see if they click on it. And so that's the magic of YouTube, just like your TikTok For You page. They are learning who your ideal audience is and who is actually consuming your content, and putting your videos in front of more people that are behaving that similar way. So that is why YouTube, outside of all the other, social media platforms that we can make videos on, it is why it is so golden, because that YouTube algorithm is so smart and the content is evergreen. It's relevant for many years to come. And as you lean into this strategy, you're not just going to make a video, for the next few weeks. Hopefully, by learning the strategies here and, digging into my course, if you want, additional information, this is going to give you that strategy to be part of your everyday lead generation platform and be one of those pillars that you can count on in your business to bring you success. So let's look at some videos that I made prior to me figuring out what the heck I was doing. So I'm sure many of you have heard the phrase, you need to be the mayor of your town, and you need to go out and interview local business owners. Well, I did that. I heard that and I was like, okay, I love tacos. Let me go to my favorite taco joint and let me interview. Oh, we got to watch a few ads here. Let me interview the local owner of this restaurant. And so I filmed this video 4 years ago. This video has been up on YouTube for 4 full years. I have the sound muted because we don't really need to hear that. But over 4 years, this has only gotten 861 views. Can y'all see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So needless to say, no one called me to help them buy or sell a house because I talked about my favorite taco joint, right? And so then I thought, okay, well, that didn't work. Let me try something else. And so then I was trying listing videos. Listing videos were becoming a very popular thing at that time, or starting to get traction. And so I was posting my listing videos, and here, this one's been up for 5 years on YouTube and only 685 views. And then I was like, okay, let's give them information about what they need to know about different types of loan options that they have. Here's another great video. It's 3 minutes long. Oh, this one had 188 views, and it's still up on YouTube to this day. So, so I knew that this stuff wasn't working, right? And it was very, very frustrating to me because I didn't understand whenever people said, video works, you need to be on video. And I'm like, but I'm making videos. This is just a snippet of what I did. Side note, I also hired someone that was a professional videographer, and he told me that he knew how to be successful on YouTube. And this was one of the professional videos that we shot on getting your home prepared for the market, 163 views in a total of 5 years. So that totally did not work either. So I was very frustrated, and you have to keep in mind that back then, TikTok wasn't a thing. This was like 2020. Facebook videos were kind of a thing, but they started to change their algorithm where you had to put paid ads behind the videos to get success. And then, Instagram Reels wasn't a thing either. So today we have a lot more options than what I had back then. But nevertheless, this information is still 100% relevant, in that I was putting videos out there, wasn't getting any success. It wasn't until I went and looked at other people's videos and trying to find out, like, how were they having success and I wasn't. And it was in that process that I realized I had the right, concept for what I was doing, but I had the complete wrong strategy. And that was because I was using videos. I didn't have a clear direction where I was going. I was just throwing anything up against a wall, seeing what would hit. I was casting a wide net, listing videos, home seller tips, talking about different types of loan. Poor YouTube didn't know what the heck my channel was about because there's a taco video thrown in there too. So they didn't know what I was doing. And it wasn't until I came across a group of real estate agents that were having success with videos, and come to find out they were having success with YouTube videos. And so I was like, dang it, what are they doing that I'm not? Because I have a YouTube channel, I'm putting these videos out there, and I'm not getting a lick of business from it. And it wasn't until I saw their channels and how drastically different it was from mine that it was like a light bulb moment clicked off. So those videos that I showed you earlier was what my very beginning days, and you can scroll the history all the way back to my channel and see this. And this is what my channel looks like today. So if you're looking at the titles that are displayed there on your screen, you're going to notice that there's not a taco video in sight. There's not a home tour video in sight. And I'm not giving tips and tricks on what you need to do to get your home ready for sale. It is all about information targeting what a relocation buyer would need to know. And so specifically, what is it like living here in the area? What are the different suburbs that you need to know about in town? Why do some people choose to live in the east side versus the west side? And where are the traffic problems that you might need to know about? That was like the big aha moment that I had when I saw other agents who were having success, is that this was all what their channel looked like. And they weren't doing those things that I was doing. So it wasn't until I started implementing this strategy and really studying what these other agents were doing and picking up on tips and tricks and themes to be able to implement and put this into practice. Let's see here. So just to give you a little bit of my history, I started making YouTube content kind of like in the fall of 2020. And I share with you that I'm a little bit of a shiny object person, but this was the one time where I was so excited and inspired by this strategy that I told myself, like, what if this was the one time that I really committed to something really hardcore for 90 days and I did not give up on myself? And, I kind of had that self-talk, and I was like, oh, we got to do it this time, Sarah. We can't give up on ourselves. You're going to commit to this, whether you get 2 views on your videos or if you get 100 views on your videos, you are going to stick with this for a full 90 days. And so that's what I did. I started posting my first videos in the fall of 2020. And one of the things that I learned is that in order to be successful on YouTube, you have to put out one high quality, well edited video per week. That's all you need to do, one video per week. And that sounds easy. And yet at the same time, ideally, these videos are going to be between 10 to 15 minutes in length. That's a long time. And so it takes a little bit of a commitment to make these types of videos. But I was committed that I could at least, get a video per week done. Those first few weeks when those first videos came up on YouTube, I was sorely disappointed at the amount of views that I had. And so I don't know if you are a regular consumer of YouTube content, but I am not. I only go on YouTube whenever I'm, trying to figure out how to operate a button on my dishwasher that I don't know what it's supposed to do, or error codes. But there's regular people out there that consume YouTube content all the time. I thought I was just going to post this video, log on the next day, and it was going to get, hundreds of views. So when I saw it was just like 4, very disappointed. So I was like, it's okay. It's just the first week. And so even after posting several videos week after week, most of my content only had 10 to 20 views per video. And I don't even know what the subscriber count was. It was like single digits, maybe low double digits. But it felt like I was growing at a snail's pace. And I'm not going to lie, I had that thought of like, this is a waste of time. Nobody's watching you. Nobody's doing this. And where I sit today, if I would have listened to that voice inside of me at the very beginning that told myself all of those, limiting beliefs, my life would look drastically different than what it does today. And so I'm so glad I made that commitment to myself to keep going. So it was about 6-8 weeks of consistently posting videos. It was a Saturday afternoon. I'm doing something around my house, and I get a phone call from a number that I don't recognize. And I answer the phone, and it's a guy saying, "Hey, Sarah, this is, Tim. We've watched your YouTube videos about Gainesville, and I have a job opportunity to move there, and we'd love to talk to you about, helping us with this move. And I just flipped out, like so excited, like, oh my God, someone watched that video and then called me. And I just could not believe that it actually worked. And I just wanted to hang up and like go celebrate and run around and scream. But then I actually had to have, the realtor conversation. So um, it was after that phone call and it was that moment that I was like, okay, this works. I can see, like, I just got a phone call from it. And at that time, I wish I would have had the hindsight or foresight to screenshot what those views were like, but they were very, very, very low. And I only probably had, 6 to 8 videos because it was within that first 2 months of posting content that I received that first lead. And so that really gave me the inspiration of, okay, we got this. We got to keep going, keep putting out those videos. And so it was in the fall of 2020 that I was posting that content. We actually ended up closing a lead from YouTube in the fall of 2020. In 2021 and 22 and 23, we were blessed with, in some sense, the results of the pandemic and the housing market and lots of relocation buyers. But you can see that this just exponentially grew year after year after year. And the amazing thing is that for the most part, not a whole lot has changed in my strategy over the years. But what has been pretty much the same is posting consistently one video per week, every single week. And you can imagine that in the fall of 2020, I knew like, hey, this is the start of maybe something good. Let's see where this goes. And then when the phone calls and the reach outs started to become more and more frequent in 2021, that's when I realized like, oh gosh, this is becoming like the main lead source in my business. I don't have to cold call anymore. I don't have to hold open houses every single weekend because I have this consistent lead flow of business that is coming to me. And so that was wildly exciting and has drastically transformed my business. So today, 80% of my business comes directly from YouTube. And again, it's putting out that one video per week, educating people on what it's like living here in the North Metro Atlanta area and sharing all the good and bad things with them and how that comes. Another cool thing that I'll share is that I was a former teacher. So my sphere of influence were, middle class, people in my sphere that had limited incomes. Typically teachers are married to other teachers, and I didn't have a sphere that had a big price point. And so one of the things that I started to pick up on whenever I started reaching or helping some of these clients that were reaching out was that they had a way bigger price point than what I was used to working in. So whereas back then 4 years ago, my average price point was around 250, 300. And then all of a sudden, you're getting phone calls from people saying that they have a budget of 800, 900, $1.5 million to work with. That was such a game changer and an added bonus that I never even realized was going to come from this type of lead gen strategy, because you're opening yourself up to a much wider pool of potential buyers and different price points with different backgrounds. And most of these people that are relocating and are seeking out this information, they are not first-time home buyers. They are people that are relocating for jobs, or they're in retirement, or they have the means and the money to be able to sell their house in California, liquidate a bunch of cash, and move to where you are. So that was just another byproduct of this that I had no clue was even going to be something that, was possible. Definitely no one in my sphere has, essentially that type of money, but now they do, because those past clients that have closed are now part of my sphere. So I guess I should change my mindset on that a little bit. All right, so let's dive into what exactly, some more things that you need to know. Let me get back to my screen here. Sorry. Okay, so I had the limiting belief whenever I got into this strategy that you needed a bunch of fancy equipment. If you know me, I am notoriously, almost maybe to a fault sometimes, really stingy and hold on to my money. And so I'm going to figure out the cheapest and least expensive way to do something. And whenever I talk to other YouTube creators and people that were having success with YouTube, they were just filming on their smartphone. And so I was like, perfect, that's great. I don't have to go out and spend money on a camera. Much less do I know how to get something from an SD card to my computer to an editor. Like that just felt way too much. But I did know how to get a video from my phone to my computer. So you likely already have that camera that you need, and it's likely, in your hand right now, or you may be on it, but that's your phone. Your phone is going to do wonders for you when it comes to filming. And here I've been making content for 4 years now, and I still use my phone because it's just so easy. So you're going to need some way to film yourself. You are going to need to have good audio. People will forgive bad pictures or bad editing. They will not forgive you, and they will not watch your video if they cannot hear you very clearly. So you can invest in a really great microphone, or there's some great economic options that you can find on Amazon. Either a simple lapel mic that you clip onto your shirt, or there's something called a shotgun mic, and that's that microphone that just sticks out, points straight at you, and it just picks up sound that's directly in that direction. So you're going to need a good microphone, and then lastly, you're going to need some good lighting. You can use free window light. That's what I'm using today. I'm sitting in front of a window in my office. Or you can get a couple of inexpensive lights from Amazon. And in the class where I go in a lot more in depth to all this, I'm going to share with you the exact links and stuff that, are tried and true product recommendations. And, it doesn't have to be something that's very difficult at all. All right, these are some of the common objections that I hear, and not should I say I hear, but maybe these are things that I've thought myself too, is that I'm not tech savvy. Well, I told y'all that. I'm still using my iPhone because I'm too scared to figure out how to use an actual camera, but it's not necessary, nor do you need to spend the money on that. But in the class, we're going to share with you the proven systems and models, the equipment that you need. It is very easy. The second biggest one is that you're camera shy. And the biggest piece of advice that I can give you for this is that you're just going to have to get over it. So that limiting belief is holding you back. And one of the things that was so inspiring to me whenever I got started is when I saw some of these other content creators, these real estate agents that were making YouTube content. I was expecting to go watch their videos and just like be blown away with what they were doing. And I thought it was going to be something magical and special. And it wasn't. Oh, a cloud happened. I don't know. I feel like I got dark all of a sudden on y'all. So it was not special at all. And in fact, some of them were kind of awkward on camera, or for me, they were boring to watch. But that was super exciting because it gave me the inspiration to know that you don't have to be anybody other than yourself. And agents that were showing up as themselves on camera and just being who they are and filming themselves, they were connecting with people that were watching their content, and they were getting business directly from it. So that was super inspiring for me because I thought like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it as well. Another thing that you're going to learn as you do this is that you are going to get better and better and better over time. You cannot compare your day one to someone else's, 300th video, which is what I'm on now. So you are going to get better and more comfortable over time. And I say more comfortable. I don't even, I hear my voice and I just cringe, but I don't think you're ever going to get comfortable seeing yourself on camera or hearing yourself. It's just something that you have to get over. Another common objection I hear, and that you might be telling yourself right now, is that you don't have time. I would argue that you don't have time not to be implementing the strategy in your business. It is such a great low-cost investment into lead generation of something that is working while you sleep. oftentimes if you log in and look at the analytics, we're getting, you know, thousands and thousands of views and thousands of watch hours of people watching me present content on something, which is crazy because it's just wild to think that there's people out there watching in the world and I'm out and about, doing my thing with my business or my family. And so that 1 to 2 hours that you put in a week filming a video is going to be working for you for years and years to come, all throughout the day, 24 hours per day with people watching your content. It'll just take you 2 to 3 hours per week of filming and implementing this strategy if you are disciplined about it and if you are consistent with this strategy. This isn't something that has to take up a lot of time or be all consuming. And so, using the systems and models that I have learned is going to help you do that. And you could even batch film content so that you're just spending maybe 4 or 5 hours a week or 1 week out of the month, and you're filming 4 videos in one session. And so you're just doing that once per month. There's ways that you can do that. And lastly, I had this limiting belief as well, which is I don't know what videos to make. And in the 4-week class, we're going to dive into like the exact videos to make, and I'm going to share with you some of those here as well. But what you need to know on the surface is just get inspiration from other successful YouTube agents. One of the great things that this real estate business has taught a lot of us, especially Keller Williams, is that we just need a really great system and model to mimic and follow. We don't have to reinvent or recreate the wheel. So let's talk about content that converts. And this is a strategy or something that took me a little bit to learn, is that your goal is not to create content that goes viral. You do need some people watching your videos, but I don't need everybody watching my videos. The views really don't matter. We just need the right people to watch your videos. And at the end of the day, subscribers is a great vanity metric, but it's not a metric that's going to directly correlate to your success. I know this because I have played the comparison game myself. I know this because I've seen other real estate agents who have had tens of thousands of subscribers. All of their videos get tens of thousands of views, but yet when you dig into the actual business that they're converting or that they're actually selling, it doesn't match. And so that has taught me that, and if you go back and historically look at my channel over time, we now average maybe between 800 to 1,000 views per video after it's been out there for a few weeks. Occasionally, I might have a video that might have, several thousands of views within those first few weeks. And then over time, those views are eventually going to grow because they're still out there. YouTube's still serving them up to people. People are still watching that content. So historically, over time, those are going to grow. And there's been weeks where me and my assistant have just thought like, this is a great video idea. This is going to be a banger of a video. And we put it out there and it just flops. I say it flops. People still watch it, but it doesn't have quite the views that we think that we thought it would have. And yet, what that process has taught us is that we encounter clients who will specifically bring up specific videos or specific things that we make content about and say how helpful that video was. And that is such a great, helpful reminder for you to know that you are not making content for everybody out there. You're just making content for a small audience of people that are interested in moving to your area. And ideally, you're going even further down in that niche and you're finding out what type of relocation buyer are you making content for? Are you making relocation content targeting retirees or people that are downsizing? Are you making relocation content? Maybe you're in a resort town or a second home market. Maybe you're targeting young families because you love working with young families and there's a lot of great, neighborhoods and amenities for young families in your area. So there's lots of different ways that you can even niche down further. But At the end of the day, what matters the most is the amount of people that are actually calling you. What you want to measure is, are people watching your content and then reaching out to you however you tell them to get in touch with you? That at the end of the day is what matters, because I can sit here and make videos that have tens of thousands of views all week, every week. And if no one ever picks up the phone and says, hey, we want to work with you and we want you to be our real estate agent, it doesn't matter because I'm not making any money. And we all know that we're in this business to, help make money, to fund our perfect lives and to give back and everything that comes with that. So don't compare your beginning to someone else's end. And also, it's really important in this strategy to make sure that you are not getting caught up in your videos getting views, but rather, are you getting reach outs from your videos is one of the most important things. Vicky, I'm going to stop. Has there been a question that maybe has come up in the chat that has been a repeat question that I should touch on?
I think that one of the questions that that has come up is when the leads that come in, how do you vet your contacts that come in?
Yeah, great question. So, and this is fun. Whenever you start getting YouTube leads, it is unlike any other type of lead source that you work with, because oftentimes they are calling you and they're saying things like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I get to talk to you. I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity. And you're like, what? Not me. No. Um, but I'm not exaggerating. People will say things like that again and again and again. And they'll say things like, we've watched all of your videos. And you're like, you've watched all of them? And they're like, yeah, we've watched all of them. My family and I sit around at night after we eat dinner and we watch videos about moving there because we're just so excited to move there. And so the great thing is that people feel like they know you. And that's a great thing because your videos want to build trust with your audience. They're a little bit you are at a disadvantage because they've watched, 10, 15 videos of you, but you know nothing about them. But for the most part, clients are incredibly excited to talk to you. They are incredibly well informed for the most part. They have some general idea about the area. They have some specific questions, or maybe they need a little bit more of advice. But through that qualification process, it would be just how you would qualify any other type of buyer. Typically, it kind of starts with, why are you moving to the area? What excites you about coming here? One of the questions that we have learned through working with these types of leads over the past 4 years is to ask the question of, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being you are certainly moving here, where would you rate yourself on that scale? Because sometimes you have clients that they're a 10. They're moving there. They need to be in by the start of the school year, and they have their home on the market currently, and they're coming in 2 weeks to look at houses. We love those types of clients. And then you have, a type of client that might say, well, we're like a 7 or an 8. We could move there, but we're also considering relocating to South Carolina, or we might go to Florida. And so then that kind of pivots the conversation a little bit more of digging into a little bit more deeper their needs analysis, what that determining factor is for them. So that is how that lead qualification process goes. And in the 4-week course, I'm going to give you like my exact systems and models, everything that we use and the things that we have found along the way that work well and don't work well, and some of the tips and tricks that we found working with relocation clients. So that's a really great question. Do you have any issues with scammers? I see that question come up. We've been very lucky in that we have either been able to pick up on some red flags through that buyer consultation or, just like with anything, you're going to have some people that you're like, oh, this client is not for me. And so it's the same with any type of lead gen source in that fact, and that, yes, eventually there's going to be some bad apples, but for the most part, working with YouTube leads is unlike any other online lead source. Oftentimes you have to connect with 100 internet leads to convert 1 or 2. YouTube, you're converting 50 to 60% of the people that reach out to you. And typically the people that don't end up converting are because they either chose a different location, they decided to put off the move, or maybe the area is just too big of an expense to kind of fit their budget. So it's been, really, really exciting working with these types of clients. All right, let's get back into talking about the exact content that converts. And I'm going to share with you some of the videos that if you're watching this and you're thinking like, hey, I want to get started, what videos do I need to make? This is what we're going to do. So this is the type of content that converts. You want to give your people that are watching your channel the real information on what it's like to live there. And so living in Gainesville, Georgia, the 5 things you need to know. And then you're going to give them 5 reasons of why people love living here. Or maybe it's 5 reasons people hate living in Gainesville, Georgia. One of the things that I've learned through studying what works and what doesn't work is that negative headlines often work really, really well. And the news media, they know this, right? If you think about articles that make you want to click whenever you're scrolling through maybe your Facebook feed, or you're looking at news articles on the Apple app, you're likely going to click on things that kind of feel negative and that have kind of like a title that makes you go, well, what is that? What are they talking about? So you want to do that, and you want to deliver on the promise of what you're telling people that you're going to talk about in your videos. So if I'm making 5 reasons why you wouldn't want to live here, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you wouldn't want to live here. Now, oftentimes those negatives are someone else's positives. Being in a congested area that's very developed with lots of restaurants and lots of shopping and, close to everything, that's going to be someone's dream. Whereas there's some clients that are like, no, I want to be out from that. I don't want to be near traffic. I don't want to have to, I'm okay with just having a handful of restaurants that I want to choose from. I don't need 50 restaurants. So, some people's pros are the other people's cons, and that's the beauty of this. Cost of living is a great type of video to make. And so people often who are relocating to a different area typically are making quite a big move, and things might cost different things in your area. We work with a lot of clients that are relocating from Florida. So homeowners insurance is very high. They don't know what a normal homeowners insurance premium is. So we often, give that type of information. And as you start to work with more and more clients that are relocating to your area, you are going to get so much great content from these clients because they're going to ask you a bunch of questions and you're going to be like, oh, I've never thought about that. Let me write that down. Or, oh, I've never had anyone ask me that question before, but I bet other people have that same question. And so your content is going to evolve over time, and you're going to start incorporating some of these needs that you're learning and that you're picking up from your clients into your videos. But these are some of the best types of videos that are going to give you like a great starter pack of what to have on your channel. Neighborhood spotlights. People want to see boots on the ground. What is it like living in your area? And so in the beginning, this could be you're incorporating photos. Ideally, you're incorporating actual videos. For me, sometimes those drive-by tours, it's holding my phone out the car window, getting some of that footage as I'm slowly driving through a neighborhood to show people what certain neighborhoods are like or what certain parts of the city is like. People love seeing that on the ground, and they love hearing your commentary as to why you like it or why this is such a popular part of town, and sharing that insider knowledge because they are watching your channel, they're watching your videos because you are the trusted expert in your area, and they don't know anything. So they're counting on you to, give them all of that information that they need. Okay, pros and cons. This is a very good bucket to have. And so this is where you're talking about, the good things and the bad things about living in your area. Now, the thing is that a lot of these topics are going to overlap in your videos. Some of your pros and cons could also be the cost. A con could be that it's very expensive to live in this part of town, but the pros are that you have, all of these great amenities. And so the great thing about making these YouTube videos is that a lot of this content is going to overlap. And one of the things that we've learned is that you never know when someone is watching your video or your channel for the very first time. So you have to keep that in mind. I thought people or YouTube was rather like serving up the videos in the order that we're putting them out there to the world. And that's not the case. For someone that's generally just searching, to move to a particular area, YouTube is thinking, well, let me see if I can find the best video that I think that this person would actually click on and watch. And they're serving them up that video. But I may have made 5 videos on the area. And so that's the unique thing about the content that you're making, is that you're often repeating your content and maybe just repackaging it in a slightly different way. But you're repeating a bunch of the same information, and people think it's new, and or they may have never seen the previous video that you made. So you have to kind of get over that belief that like, oh, I've already talked about that before, so I don't need to talk about it again. No, you're going to talk about it again and again and again and again. And so you better really love where you live if you're, thinking about doing the strategy so that you can share, a lot of the great, wonderful things about living there. All right. And then lastly, market info. So this is the one type of content that isn't necessarily evergreen. So the market information is only going to be relevant for, 2 to 3 months at a time. But this is a great bucket of content that you can put videos out about, every 6 weeks or so to show off your knowledge of the market and the area that you live. So we're talking about, what is it like buying a house right now today in the North Metro Atlanta area? Well, some areas are very competitive and some homes are sitting on the market. So that's a great thing for buyers because we can negotiate closing costs, whereas, 2 years ago, that was unheard of. So I'm giving buyers and sellers that real-time information on what it's like being in the area and buying a home. What are homes going for? What do sellers typically try to negotiate? What do buyers typically try to negotiate? And then also kind of sharing any relevant, maybe news headlines that are happening in the area, or development information that's happening in the area of new neighborhoods that are coming up, or they're revitalizing, this downtown development, and it's going to be this great live, work, play area that they just broke ground on. So sharing all of that information is super helpful for buyers and people that are watching your channel, because it reiterates that you're the local market expert. And that is where you become the mayor of your town, is by sharing that type of information and being the information provider for the people that are watching your videos, not making the taco videos. Okay, so this is the conversion funnel from going from providing that valuable content. You're not doing a hard sell. You're just telling them that you're a real estate agent in the area and that they're thinking about making a move. They're going to reach out to you. You're going to have an easy way for people to get in contact with you. You're going to have a really great buyer consultation. I find that they are most successful if you do those on Zoom or some sort of face-to-face type thing, because you want to be able to get them face-to-face, because oftentimes they're states away, so they're not local. And then lastly, you're going to convert, from consultation and get them to the closing table and help them buy the house and help them relocate here. One of the things that I think is just so cool, and that I never imagined ever that was something that was ever possible, is that we've had several clients that have moved over the past couple of years that have said that the only reason they moved to our area was because of the YouTube channel, because of watching the content. I had a family move from South Louisiana just because of the videos. And that's wild to me, that one, that they would put that much trust, and two, that you could have that much impact or influence over someone. And so don't underestimate the value of what you are providing as a real estate agent by making this type of content. Now, one thing I didn't put in here, and I probably should have, is that you might be thinking to yourself, I want to do this strategy, but I live in X town and there's already 2 other real estate agents that do this. And, one of them does it really well. And so I just feel like it's not even worth it. Totally get that. And I have to tell you that there is enough business out there for everyone. There is there are people that are going to connect with you and your personality and the way that you deliver information, and they're not going to connect with that other person, and vice versa. If you look here in the metro Atlanta area, there's tons of real estate agents that have YouTube channels, and some people choose to work with other agents, and that's okay. You are missing out on really great, incredible leads and people and clients that you can serve if you are not implementing this strategy in your business. So do not let that be the limiting thing that holds you back from, deciding to go out there and make content. Okay. Sorry, let me pull this back up. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so what are we going to cover in the 4-week course? If you've enjoyed what you've heard about today, and I'm sure you might have some more questions, and I'll take those here in just a second. But if you're wondering, okay, I like this and I want to go a little bit deeper, this is what we're going to cover in the 4-week course. They're going to be live 90-minute sessions that will be recorded. And we are going to dive into everything that you need to do to get up and running and get going and creating your YouTube channel and putting out one video per week. So we're going to go through things like how do you, set up your channel? How do we create content that's going to speak to a specific audience? How do I identify my niche? How do I plan the content? What do I say in the videos? How do I script out my videos if I want to script, or how do I just freestyle it if I'm going to freestyle it? How do you strategically put out content over the course of a month at a time to make sure that you're hitting all of the right buckets of content that you need? We're also going to talk about in week 4, the elements of what makes a great video, what makes a great script. We're going to talk about thumbnails and titles and B-roll and all of those SEO things that you need to do to optimize your channel. And then lastly, we're going to dig into what it's like to actually work with those leads, what makes these types of leads different. In a lot of ways, they're the same as any other type of buyer and seller leads. And then there's a lot of things that make these types of leads very different. They come with their own unique set of needs and problems. And the best thing is that we get to be, that problem solver for them and be that deliverer of information. I do know that Vicky's going to, put this into the chat for you to sign up, but it is a $250 investment, and there's a discount for Inspire members. And I'm so excited to help so many of you get started with this and help you grow and have the exact same success that I've had, and help, show you that this isn't something that's very complicated or hard, and that you just need the right systems and tools and strategy and step-by-step things to get you started and get you, flying out of that little baby bird YouTube nest and being successful. So
Sarah, this is so good. Now, so is this better with the camera now where I'm sitting? Is that what you'd recommend?
No, it's still bad.
Well, listen, I just want to tell you, I sat through the whole thing. I'm helping you facilitate this, but I'm going to buy it myself because I need to take it. So, I mean, and I've never bought one of the own courses that we partnered on before, but I'm buying yours because I'm going to learn from you and you deserve to get paid. You are really freaking good at this. So thank you for the time. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please do.
Okay. I know that that this tends to be a little bit buyer heavy lead wise, right? Because it's reload buyers and people who are interested in your town. But would you say that I mean, you do get sellers from it and you're also building future sellers? Would you agree with that?
100%. And so that was one of kind of some of the limiting beliefs that I hear from agents that are thinking about doing this. And, they think, oh, it's a bunch of buyer business, and we're taught to, very be listing heavy. And for the most part, it's very true. Majority of the leads that you're going to get are going to be buyer focused. In the course, I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks of what I've learned of how to incorporate more seller information into your YouTube channel and how to get local views on your videos to get those local sellers. So you will get some seller business. It's going to be mostly buyers. And the great thing is that those 60 families that I helped directly from YouTube in 2021, 2022, 5-6 years from now, from then, which is almost 2 years from now, some of those are going to turn over, or some of those people have referred, multiple family members, or they have neighbors that have sold. And so you are exponentially growing your database and creating, this really cool database that just loves you. And a lot of these clients are just so thankful that you helped them discover this area and relocate their family. And now their quality of life is exponentially better because of this. Now, yes, I played a small part in that. And they attribute a lot of love and gratitude for that. And it just, makes this business so enjoyable when you get to work with clients that are happy and that they want to work with you. And that's a great byproduct of this strategy.
Cindy put in the chat, Cindy's the #1 real estate agent in the entire Ohio Valley region. She's on the call. She put in the chat too, and this, you probably do this, that it's it's a marketing message you can use on a listing appointment. Look at how many people I'm attracting. Look at the leads that are coming in. It seems like that it is a benefit to your sellers as well.
Yes, that's such a great point. When I go to listing presentations, I'm pulling up my YouTube channel analytics and saying, these are the amount of people that watch me. And oh, by the way, I can feature your house in, this video on what it's like living in this town to, gain more exposure. And so, yes, it's a great mutually beneficial thing that you can use not only with local people, but also people that are relocating.
Do you have time to take a couple of questions from the
Yes, I love
community
that.
that's here? All right, so if you've got one, raise your digital hand or you can put it in the chat. I would tell you, if you want to enroll, I would encourage you to enroll. I've literally never paid for a course that I'm helping promote, but I'm paying for it this time. You go to jamesdshaw.com and click the coaching button, and it'll be the first one there. For our Inspire members who are on, you do get a discount. The promo code is in the Inspire Facebook group. I can't type it in the chat. Some of you are like, just put it in the chat. No, I can't do that because that doesn't honor your membership. So it's in the Facebook group. It's literally pinned to the top, and you'll be able to save some money. All right, D'Angela Hudson, what's up?
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much. This was
Yeah.
incredibly helpful and really helped to boost confidence because, like you said, there's so many different ways to become intimidated. And I was curious, what is the #1 way that you use to edit before you upload?
So, we didn't dive into it much here or at all, but we will in the course. But this is in order to be successful with the strategy, you're going to have to leverage out that editing. So there's various different, third-party resources that I can point you to or refer you to get that editing done. You can edit those videos yourself. Those very first videos that got me those first couple of leads were videos that I did edit myself. They were terrible, but that's okay. Perfection is the enemy of done, and that was just proof that it does work. But what I learned in that process is that as you were getting your lead generation strategy with YouTube up and that machine running, you're still running your real estate business as normal, and you still have to attend to all the other ways that you were getting business and holding the open houses and contacting your database and all of those things. And you're just not going to have time to be a dedicated editor. And so maybe you might have someone in your family or a young person in your life that's skilled at this. And this is something that can grow as your income grows. But I'll share with you, I've never paid more than $75 to $100 to have a video edited. And so it can be very cost effective. For me back then, I thought I was, spending thousands of dollars on Zillow leads every single month by paying, $100 for a video to be edited. I thought it was like this huge expense. I was terrified of spending that money, but I also, knew that I wouldn't be able to successfully do this every single week doing it myself and stay consistent. And so, I will say that if you're thinking about doing this, you want to do the class. If after taking that class, if you don't feel like you can commit to doing this every single week, I would say this just strategy isn't for you, and that's okay. Go find something else, but you have to be one video a week, every single week, or it's just not going to work.
But you bank them sometimes, don't you? Like that. I mean, that's what we do. We do a video a week, and I record a bunch of them in advance so that, like Vicky could tell you, we're recorded into June probably. So
Yes,
that would be a
100%.
strategy someone could use if they don't have that pressure of what am I going to do this week. They could get some ideas and just boom, 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 and bang them out.
Correct. Yes. Yes, 100%.
I love it. Linda Brennan.
Thank you so much. This is great. I did a little cyber stalking, looked at a lot of your stuff, and you have a great Instagram channel too. And I heard you when you said stay in your lane that you built this. Did that come later? Do you get different types of leads over there? I'm just
Yes, that's a great question. I'm a firm believer of staying in your lane, mastering one thing first. It's just been within the past year that I've felt like I kind of had the bandwidth to start exploring Instagram, and that has been a rough road, y'all. I've learned that what works on YouTube does not work on Instagram. All of these platforms are very, very different. And so you have to, take time to study and have someone to learn from that's either already figured out, that you can trust, that has figured it out and can like directly hand it to you. I haven't quite found that yet on Instagram. And so I've been trying over the past year of changing strategies or whatever. It's just now starting to pick up steam, where we've gotten a handful of leads, but nothing for me to write home about to say, sign up for my Instagram class. So, but yeah, but it's taken a while to get a little bit more leverage and have the bandwidth to be able to focus on that. So, and I think hands down, anyone that is successful on Instagram and YouTube, or that maybe they have both, they're going to say YouTube wins all day, every day when it comes to business that converts. And, all the social media gurus will say that as well.
We perform a lot better than we do on YouTube than we do on Instagram. 100%. I agree with you. It's a longer watch time. That's why they sit down and you get a much longer time. So you build relationship faster, it seems like to me. Hey,
Yeah, that's a
Sandy.
great point.
Hi, thanks for calling on me. I was wondering, we have a YouTube channel, but we do the free version. Do you have to pay for a subscription to do what you're doing?
Nope, not at all.
But you don't
I'm very
have one?
cheap.
Okay. All right. That's
Yes.
good.
Yeah. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, so we can definitely use that, you can utilize that same channel that you already have. So in this, and I don't know that I drove this home enough, but you're not paying for ads. You're not doing anything like that. You are just simply making the content, letting the algorithm do its thing and help them find your audience. You don't want to run ads. That's detrimental to your channel. So it's a really great free way of getting business outside of your time and the editor that you're going to have put your videos together.
Okay, great. Thank you
Jack-
so much.
Jack
welcome.
Smith,
Good
beautiful
question.
luxury downtown St. Pete. Hello.
Hi, Sarah. It's great to see you again. It was wonderful having you in class on exactly what to say.
Yes. Good to
Ask
see you.
You mentioned that you had so many leads and you had to really, really discern who you were going to work with. How have you managed that? Remember I said to you, why don't you try this? And you said, no, I'm not doing that. And I don't remember what you said you did. So how are you discerning with the leads that you're getting? Because when I met you 2 years ago at KW Luxury, this was not going on.
Yeah, I think over time I've grown as a better agent of understanding that not everyone that reaches out to you is someone that you have to work with. And for me, that was a hard concept to learn and understand. I would try to work with the difficult people that were impossible or unrealistic expectations or unrealistic, expectations. And I would mold myself and keep going until I can get them, and realize I was running myself into the ground and or wasting time on those when I could be serving other people. So we've developed some, boundaries in place, getting the BBA signed, which we all have to now, but, having that in place and not being a tour guide for someone. So not taking them around town and showing them, 20 houses when they're not pre-approved. They can't buy a house. They're thinking about buying a house in South Carolina as well. They're 2 years out from retirement. All of those things. We are having some very detailed conversations ahead of time to set those expectations. And if they're not okay with that, then they're just not the right client for us. Great question. Michael?
Sorry, Bettina, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, hello everybody, and thank you so much, Sarah, for doing this. Obviously, when you're doing a YouTube, people get attached to you because they're watching all your videos, and you're the one they know, like, and trust. And James mentioned in the chat that sending it over to a buyer's agent really isn't a big hassle. But what are your ways of transitioning from yourself when they meet you and consult with you to a buyer agent?
Great question. So I have experience on both sides with this. There was a time period in this journey in 2021, 2022, when I actually took on the team leader role at our office. And so in that role, I could not be in production. So I still made the YouTube videos because I had that, lead generation machine going. I did not want to turn that off. So I did bring on a business partner and some agents that ran the business day to day. And so at that time, and what I would also just recommend doing in general is when you're making videos, even if you're just a solo agent right now, my team and I love helping people relocate here. And so what that's going to signal to people that eventually reach out and call, they'll say, oh, I'm sure Bettina's too busy, but if someone on your team could help us, or, we're just happy to talk with whoever. One of the great things that I picked up from my great friend Ken Posick is he and his team, the way that they handle this is, say, Bettina, you're thinking about moving to Cumming, Georgia, which is a suburb of where I'm at. And I'd be like, oh, my teammate, Steven, he is an expert on the area, and he is going to be able to serve you way better than I could. He knows that area in and out, and I want to make sure you're being served by the absolute very best, but I'm going to be here with you, along the way as well. So that's one way to hand it off to team members. I, for a long time now, 2+ years, have used a showing agent to help show clients homes. And so the conversation of that is just, in the buyer consult, I say, hey, when it's time for us to go house hunting, it's not going to be just me showing you homes. It's going to be myself and my agent partner. We're going to work hand in hand to make sure that you're always getting to houses as quickly as possible, and that you always have someone available when you're in town, because you're flying across the country to come check out houses, and we want to make sure that, you have someone available for you the whole time. Yeah, great question.
That is
Yeah,
so
thank
good.
you.
Donna, you're next, Donna.
Thank you, James. And Sarah, you're outstanding.
Oh, thank
I
you.
just a simple, well, two parts. One is, did you start just using your Zoom and recording right from your home office?
Yes. So I actually use my iPhone on a tripod, which I still use to this day. I filmed in my office, which was a very ugly office. At the time, I was working out of a cubicle in my KW office, and so I'm like, I can't film out of the cubicle. And so my house isn't very pretty, or at the time wasn't very pretty. We had like an older house that needed renovating. And so for a long time, I let that hold me back. And I was like, I don't have these pretty backgrounds that all these other agents have. But those first couple of videos, it was up against my ugly gray wall in my house with terrible lighting, and the audio wasn't that great. The editing surely wasn't great, but those were the first few videos that got, people to call. And so just over time, as I could spend a little bit more or trust the process a little bit more, I eventually kind of created like a dummy's prettier office in my house, where I just painted 2 walls and hung some stuff up in the background and sat in front of that. But that's really not my office. And those are the only 2 walls painted in that room in my basement. So it's a hot mess.
Part, that's funny. The second part is when you do the, what was it called? The neighborhood spotlights. Did you have like a videographer kind of going around town, or did you just selfie stick it out there and go?
Yes, it was either my assistant driving or me driving the car slowly, and my assistant have her arm hanging out the window with her phone, or vice versa, or sometimes just, me driving slowly and getting it myself of holding my phone. The great thing is that technology has come such a great way, especially with our phones that have like internal stabilizers now. Previously, you would need like what's called a gimbal, and it like makes hold the phone very steady for you. But everything's come such a long way that you really can get by with, doing the bare minimum, in some ways. Over time, you're going to learn, some things that will make that process easier. But, people are just really excited to hear from you and get your input. And it's really more so about the information that you're giving them and having some sort of visual to go along with it. But they're not expecting something that's like cinematic shot by a videographer.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, Maria.
Yes, thank you so much, Sarah. Great job. I heard you once in family reunion say that the SEO and the thumbnail is not important as it is to post a video every single week in YouTube. Do you still believe that don't paying attention to the SEO matters, or it doesn't? And if you have changed, do you use any app to determine what is the best SEO for the video?
Yes. No, I don't focus a ton on SEO. Naturally, if you are making content about your area and you're giving it a good title, naturally that title and the description that you put into YouTube are inherently going to be SEO optimized, unless you just never mentioned your town and you never mentioned what the video is about. But doing those 2 or 3 things naturally is going to check off the SEO boxes that you need. What I have found, and also, consulting with other agents, is that it's just a waste of time to, spend hours, or, there's definitely apps out there that you can put titles into to get certain words, and they'll give you the keywords, and it really just, at the end of the day, doesn't really matter a ton. So I've found that in the limited precious time that we have, your efforts are better spent making a better video, or, having much better content. Now, I will say that thumbnails and titles are super important. And so, there's some ways to make very strong titles and to have an eye-catching thumbnail. Your thumbnail is like the book cover of your video, because you got to remember, people are seeing that for the most part, not the video itself. So you want to have something that makes them click. And that's been a little bit of an animal that has been a process to try to figure out of what makes a good thumbnail. It's a lot of trial and error, but there's a lot of great things that I've learned along the way that I'll, make sure that as well, to, so that you don't have to go through those painful learning mistakes that I did.
I appreciate, you're excellent at this. I've not seen you really teach at this level before. You're really, really good at it. And I think one reason that people connect with you on YouTube is that your authenticity comes through. So I think it's something that with practice, people get better at that, and you're awesome at it. Would you say that success in YouTube just comes from time on task over time, that getting the key strategies together, like you're going to say, but then just time on task over time, and you get better as you go? Would that be fair to say?
Yes. I would liken in some ways making YouTube content to farming. You can't, send out one postcard, drop a postcard into a neighborhood and expect to get business from it the first time. It's something that you have to do consistently over time, over time, over time. And it's the same thing with YouTube. The difference, though, is that, your people are getting to see your personality. They're getting information. They're watching because they want to watch. No one is forcing them to, click on your video and learn about what you're talking about. And the really cool thing is that the more content that you make, if I make a video on Gainesville, Georgia, and I can, at the end of that video, I'm going to say, hey, if you're thinking about moving to Gainesville and you want to know more information about all the best neighborhoods here, watch this video next. And then that's going to serve them up the next video on all the great neighborhoods. Or you could say, if you've watched this video and you don't think Gainesville is the area for you, this town might be a better fit for you, watch this video next. And you're creating these bingeable playlists for people just to go from video to video to video. And they're just going to think you're amazing and you're, so detailed in knowledge, but really it's kind of the same information again and again, just in slightly different ways about slightly different areas.
Yeah.
But people
One thing
really
you told me
appreciate
was
that.
many people do watch this on their television sets, like it's common for them to
Yes.
do. So you're like in their living room, you're part of their, it's not necessarily mobile phone watching, it's sitting down on the TV and watching it. For the person who is, they're interested, they're here, so they're still watching this. They've been on here for an hour and a half. So they're definitely curious. What would your final piece of advice be to them about why they should just go ahead and enroll in your full series?
I would say that if you're watching this and you're thinking in your head, I can't do that, that I don't feel like I have the camera presence, or I feel like I don't know what to do. I felt that exact same way. And for me, this lead generation strategy really kind of came out of desperation. I was tired of door knocking and cold calling, and I wasn't from the area that I live here, so I didn't have a huge sphere. And, I shared this at the beginning of the class, but if I would have listened to those limiting beliefs initially and wouldn't have made that commitment to myself to just do this, then, my world, my family's world would be drastically different today than what it is. And that can be the same way for you too. Another limiting belief that I had as well is I felt like my area wasn't big enough. Whenever I first got into this, someone told me to Google search how many people are Googling moving to Gainesville, Georgia. And so you can actually go into Google Analytics and find that information. And it was like, there's like 12 or 20 people a month were Googling that.
That's a lot.
And I was
It
like,
seems like a lot.
well, comparatively in this Facebook group that I was in, these other towns had like 100+ people or more Googling that every month. And I was like, but then I was like, hey, if they're going to research that online and I'm going to be the one agent that comes up time and time again with consistent information, that's 20 people possibly that I can help every single month. And
with
I
no
was barely
competition.
getting by with one. I was barely helping one person a month at the time, you know, so, even helping 2 or 3 people. So I would
It's
just say
100
that
million in volume. You've closed from it. How many units roughly?
Oh,
You had that slide earlier that had the number.
yeah.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. But I mean, it's a lot.
Over
This is
150.
significant. Yeah. 150
people.
units.
Yeah.
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 It's great. Sarah, anything else before we kick it?
No, I'm just so excited to meet with everybody and just wanted to say that you can do this too. And I'm excited to help you grow and learn along this journey and happy to get started with everybody in the next 2 weeks. And I promise you it's going to be really, really good and fruitful. And I'm excited to see your videos.
I'm excited to see everybody there. jamesdshaw.com/coaching is where you go to sign up. If you're an Inspire member, there's a promo code in the Inspire Facebook group. The most common question is, will we have access to a recording? It's a class about YouTube. It's all about recordings. So yes, you will have access to the recordings for life. We have a portal that it lives in. You'll get access to it and you'll have everything for life. Sarah, thank you. You killed it. I appreciate you so much. Vicky, thanks for running the Zoom. And everybody, thank you for choosing to spend 90 minutes with us today. We'll see you in the full course starting May 7th. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thanks.